Hello everyone in Cycle World, welcome back to another video. I'm Richard.
And I'm Jennifer, and this is our channel we call Poor Man's DIY. This week's video, we're gonna make something out of this, and this, and this.
Okay, so what exactly are we going to be doing today? We're going to be using this pencil holder that's made from bamboo. This is just something that we came up with temporarily. We're actually looking for some sort of a cylindrical piece of wood that has been bored out. We don't have the equipment for that, so for the time being, this is what we found, and we've done some tests on it. It worked out really well, so we think we'll be able to do what we had planned. Now, we've seen plenty of people using the lasers to cut flat surfaces, and we've seen them use rotary devices to engrave on cups and so forth. But what we have not been able to find is anybody who actually cut on a cylindrical surface. And I'm sure there are plenty of people out there. I just haven't come across their videos, so we're going to see if we can do this. And so to begin, we're going to go ahead and set up the rotary. So the rotary device itself doesn't, well, it fits inside the M1, but it's too high up and the actual laser head will bump into this. So in order for this to work, we're going to have to raise the M1 and take out the bottom plate, and so that this will fit underneath there. So let's go ahead and work on that. Fortunately, the M1 comes with some riser blocks, and we're going to put these underneath the legs of the M1. The M1 comes with an incredible feature. It has a camera inside, and utilizing that camera, it takes measurements to determine the height of the item that you're going to either engrave or cut. Whenever we use the chuck or the rollers, it seems to have some difficulties in finding the height of the cup that we're actually going to be working with. So there is something else that xTool has provided. You can actually go and print this ruler out on a piece of wood, and it's all set up for you. And so what this does was, if you can't get the system itself to measure it, this will allow you to provide a measurement to manually put in the software so you can set the optimal height for the laser head to do the cutting. Now, how does this work? Very simple. While the M1 is still off, you can move the laser head and bring it to the highest point of the device or the object that you're going to be cutting. You place this on top. And what you're going to be looking for is the height is going to be the number at the top of the laser head. In this particular case, we're looking at about 18. So if the M1 software does not actually identify it automatically, we're going to go ahead and manually put in 18. Now, how we're going to be doing this may appear to be a little bit awkward. We're actually going to be cutting one item at a time. In reality, you should be able to design the whole thing that you're going to be cutting out around the entire cup itself. We have a minor problem with our machine in that every time that it is set up and we do the framing actually is supposed to measure it to show you where it's going to be cut, and it resets the object that you're going to be cutting back to the original point. Unfortunately, what we have found is once it does framing, it moves and it does not come back to what we'll call the home setting. And what has happened there, here's an example. So we printed this star and determined that it wasn't quite high or deep enough, so we just figured we would do another pass at it. We hadn't touched anything, so it should have been just as simple as run the pass one more time, and it would have been perfectly cut in the same location. But as you can see here, it actually did move, and so the second pass was too far down, and it didn't work. So that is why what we're going to be doing is, instead of printing everything all at once, it will be one design at a time. A little inconvenience, but we'll be working with the xTools and we'll get this straightened out.
Before we do anything, we have to clean the item that we're going to use or the surface. And the reason I'm using the gloves is that I don't want fingerprints on them. And we're going to go ahead and use the isopropyl alcohol to clean it and make sure all of the surface is clean. And then after we clean it, we're going to put frog tape on it. And now we're going to start adding the frog tape all the way around the item. So as you can see, I've taped the whole item and we're going to start working on it, and let's get going. Now let's begin by using the xTool Creative Space on the computer.
In our videos, we obviously want to show you the projects that we make and how well it works out, but there's always issues, and this particular case I ran into quite a few, and I wanted to share this so that hopefully if you decide to do something similar, you don't run into the same problem. Basically what we are using, as we mentioned, is hollow bamboo for this project, and in the beginning, you can tell here, everything was going really smooth. We cut out one cherry blossom at a time, things popped out, it was going really well. But as we started to move across, things stopped working well. Couldn't figure it out. And in reality, this is not the first one that was ruined. I have another one with a whole bunch on there. It got to the point where it wasn't cutting through. This was totally baffling. I ended up setting the power and the speed so slow, and it literally started just burning rather than cutting. And when you look inside, it still didn't go through. And I just could not, for some reason, figure out what it was. And it dawned on me, this is bamboo. This isn't a block of wood that was bored out to be perfect thickness all the way around. Bamboo grows naturally, and there's bound to be pieces that are thicker compared to others. So I took a measurement and found out the places that we originally started cutting were right about the 6 millimeter mark, which is perfect. It's very close to 1/4 inch, and we've had great success with cutting the 1/4 inch wood. As you start going around, there are places where it's 9 millimeters, 8 millimeters, and that's why it wasn't going through. So I thought something was wrong with the lens. I tried cleaning out the laser lens on several occasions, thinking something's not right, why isn't it cutting through? Ultimately, it was just one of those duh moments. So if you opt to do this, make sure you have a laser that's strong enough that can actually cut through thicker parts of the bamboo. If not, you need to make sure you have measure it, and the one that we finally did get to work, we measured it and everything was 5 millimeters or less, and it worked like a charm. So we'll get back into the project now. personally, I'm really pleased with the pendant lamp and how it turned out. There was some iffy situations on there. I hope you learn from our mistakes and you don't have to run into it. I do have a favor to ask of you as I spoke. That cup that we used was actually made from bamboo, and the sides are all different sizes. I have been struggling to find anybody or any place that makes these hollow rounds. If you happen to know of any place that might be able to do that, leave a comment below and direct me there. We'd really appreciate it.
So, our next projects. It's this time of the year where we have a bunch of Christmas projects going on, and plus all our other projects. So we don't know exactly what we're going to do yet, but we'll wait and see and show you next week. Until then,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.